what do we call it? On the Haftorah of this week's parsha that we do, the Haftorah of Shabbos parshas of Shabbos, because it's Beis Rish Chodesh Marcheshvan. So therefore, we do the Haftorah associated with this pasuk Kasher Shamayim HaChadashim. Okay, so let's begin. Kaשר השמים החדשים. This is a mimer from Tafshin Lamed Daled. Seems to be a lot of mamorim now from the Dvar Malchus are from this particular period. Kaשר השמים החדשים וארץ חדשה נעשה עומדים לפני גויmer, like the new heavens and the new earth that I am making. In other words, that Hashem is going to bring a level of new shamayim and new aretz when Mashiach comes. So just like there's going to be the new heavens and new earth, in the same way there will be that your children and your name, your renown, your fame, and so on will stand forever as well. This pasuk of Hashemayim HaChadashim V'Aretz Chadasha, etc., is coming in the hemshach to what it says in an earlier pasuk in that Haftorah. It says, and this is actually the beginning of the Haftorah, Hashemayim Kisi V'Aretz Hadoim Ragloi. The heavens are my throne, and the earth is my footstool. The Koi Al Shemayim V'Aretz B'Zman Hazeh. Which heavens is it referring to that's considered my throne and my footstool? The earth, which heavens, which earth? Not the Shemayim HaChadashim V'Aretz Chadasha. He's referring to our heavens, the heavens that we know about now, and the earth that we know about now, before even being made into something new and so on. Already at this time, it's in a way of a throne for the Eibishter and a footstool for the Eibishter. And then he says, Sha'aleim Nemar, concerning these heavens and the earth of now, it says, Bereishis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'ha'aretz. In the beginning, Hashem created the heavens and the earth. Concerning this heaven and footstool, which is the heaven and earth, which is the throne and the footstools, it says, Shalaslav yu shamayim chadashim v'aretz chadash. That in the future it will be a new heavens and new earth. The Avshi yu chadashim, though they will be new, they're not going to be identical to the Bereishis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'ha'aretz. Mikol makim gam hem yu nekroim b'shem shamayim v'aretz. Also, they will be called heaven and earth, just like the heavens and the earth in these days that are called heaven and earth. So, on the one hand, they have a certain thing that's in common and a certain thing that's different. There is the heavens and the earth Hashem created, and that Hashem created is considered Hashem's throne, Hashem's footstool. And in a similar vein, there is another thing that's called heaven, but it's going to be new. A new Shamayim and a new Aretz when Mashiach comes. And then, once we have developed this idea, so it continues, and afterwards, the Haftorah continues, just like the new heavens and new earth that I am making when Mashiach comes are standing before me, so too your name, your children, and your name will stand. The fact that the pasuk has to tell us this, that also in the future your children and your name will stand, and this will be in a similar vein, just like the new heavens and new earth will be standing forever, so too your children, your name will be standing forever. So the fact that the Haftorah has to assure us of this, it's because there's a reason we might think that it would not be so. Move on, he says in line 17, it's understood, God will that this is a very big chiddush to say that our children, our names will stand forever like the new heavens and new earth. There's a reason to think that the comparison of your children and your name is only a comparison to heavens and earth the way they are now. Why would there be a comparison? Because of the following. Shalem Amr Azal. Concerning this, the Chazal said, the second Rashi in Chumash Bereishis, Bereishis, Beis Reishis. Why does it say Bereishis? That's supposed to be divided to say there's two Reishis. Bishvil HaTorah Shnikras Reishis Darkei, for the Torah which is called the beginning of his way. Ubishvil Yisrael Shenikru Reishis Tvosei, and for the Yidden that are called the beginning of his crop. And for both the Torah and the Yidden together, the worlds were created. So therefore, we can understand the comparison between Yidden and their name with the heavens and earth, because the heavens and earth were created for the Yidden. So therefore, if the heavens and earth are here, so the Yidden will be here. So that is all concerning the present time, the present creation of heavens and earth. Like we said, the heavens and earth, that's considered a throne and a footstool for the Eibishter, that's the Bereishis bara l'kim hashamayim v'ha'aretz, the original heavens and earth. But who is to say that this comparison and this connection of the Yidden that is similar in strength to the heavens and the earth also apply concerning the new heavens and the earth of Mashiach's times? Line 21 at the end of the line. Concerning the new heavens and the new earth, how is it possible to say that the Yidden are the same? Because there's no creation that they were created for the Yidden, it doesn't say. By the original creation, by the original heavens and earth, it says they were created because of it. But over here, there was no creation because of it. Therefore, the pasuk has to tell us concerning the new heavens and the new earth. Top of the next page, that even though this is not the heavens and the earth of Bereishis bara l'kim hashamayim v'ha'aretz that was created in the way of Beis Reishis for the Yidden and the Torah, still in all, even this new heavens and earth, still the Yidden are compared to it and will have the same power and everlasting nature like the new heavens and new earth of Mashiach's times. So the Rebbe continues on the top of the second page, but on the other hand, moving, it's understood. Although this is a great novelty, still in all, there's an explanation to this. Why this is so. In other words, the pasuk says it is so. And it's a chiddush, like we said, but there must be a reason for it. So the Rebbe asks, we need to understand what's the explanation behind it. That also concerning the new heavens and the new earth, it's also applicable to say that so your children and your name will be everlasting. Ois Beis, line 6. This will be understood. Al pi hamevur b'dibra maskul, ki kasher השמים החדשים והארץ החדשה, שבסיום הלקוטי Torah ובאסכוlas haTorah oir. There are two mamorim that are titled of the Alter Rebbe, ki kasher השמים החדשים. One of them is printed at the end of the Sefer Lekutei Torah, and another one is printed at the beginning. It's the first mimer in Torah Oir. Based on what it explains in those mamorim on the Shamayim Chadashim, the Rebbe is going to explain. Now the Rebbe is going to point out this interesting thing that we have this setup of mamorim both at the end of Lekutei Torah, at the beginning of Torah Oir. Like we know how things developed. That the printing of the Torah, they came one after another. that there was initially the Torah Or was printed, and it should have just been, look at the Torah, should have just been volume 2 of the Torah Or. It should have been Torah Or Chelik Aleph and Torah Or Chelik Beis. How did the name change? So there was a problem with getting government approval. Every sefer that was printed has to be passed by the censor. It was a lot of problems, and I think there might have been even people that got in the way of it being printed. So the government would not allow the second volume of Torah to be printed. So therefore, they had to print it under a different name, Likutei Torah. But what's the point that the Rebbe is bringing out? That really they're the same sefer, even though they have a different name. So the Rebbe goes on to say in line 11, since the Tzemach Tzedek arranged them in this order, all the different mamorim, the Tzemach Tzedek was the one that picked the mamorim to be used in the Sefer Torah Or as well as the Likutei Torah. So Tzemach Tzedek was involved in it, and the fact that he chose those mamorim, and he chose that at the end of Likutei Torah there's the mimer entitled Shemaim Kisi V'Artem and Agli, as well as the beginning of the Torah Or. So what does it come out? That the beginning of it's really one set, we said. So it comes out that the beginning and the end are sharing the same mimer for the same title of mimer. So the Rebbe goes on to say in line 12, how the movement is understood, that there's a unique connection between the beginning and the conclusion, and the beginning is staked out in the end. So therefore, the fact that the Torah Or begins with a Shamayim Kisi, and the Torah concludes with a Maimer Shamayim Kisi, shows the interconnectedness that I've always emphasized between the beginning of the end. That's all parenthetical. The main point is that in those mamorim it speaks be'inyan shemayim va'aretz. It speaks about the idea of heaven and earth. Shaleim them are concerning them. It says Hashemayim kisi v'aretz adoim, that the heavens are my throne and the earth is my footstool. So the Rebbe is going to go on to explain about what it's explained in the Maimer and Torah Or. First of all, about this. Line 16, second paragraph. By prefacing what's explained with this in the Maimer title of Shemayim Kisi, that's at the beginning of Torah Or. Over there, in Torah Or, he goes on further in the pasuk after it says Hashamayim Kisi va'aretz adoim ragloi, that the heavens are my throne and the earth is my footstool. So in continuation of that, the pasuk goes on and says, since that is the case, since the heavens are my throne and the earth is my footstool, what home then can you build for me? What place can be my resting place? Hainu, this means he's questioning, the Navi is questioning, how is it possible that you can have a home? What type of home can you build for me? Since the heavens are my throne, even through the highest type of service of Hashem, you cannot affect the idea of the home that you will build for me. It's impossible if the whole world doesn't contain him. So you can make a home for the Eibishter. So what's the answer to that query? What's the answer to that wonder? Concerning this, he continues in the pasuk and he says, literally the next pasuk, he answers, Elzeh abid, to this, or to this one I will look. El oni unechei ruach, to someone that is poor and someone that is low of spirit. In other words, true, there's nothing that seemingly can contain the Eibishter, but one thing can. We affect this being able to build a home for the Eibishter through bittul, through Kabbalah's oil, like we say. He's an ani, he's low of spirit. Just like on Rosh Hashanah through bittul, and accepting the yoke of the kingship of the Eibishter, in such a way that they accepted his kingship with will, in other words, by choice. So Yidden affect the idea that you should be king, that you have made me king over you. To such a degree, top of the third page of the Maimer, we reach all the way to the level of the most exalted aspect of Hashem's very essence, that we spoke about in earlier Mamarim of this year's Dvar Malchus of Tafshin Lamed Daled, that's the most hidden level of the will of the king to want to be king. And how can we reach so deep to evoke that and to draw that out? It's all of that because the quality of the idea of bittul, being poor, meaning spiritually feeling oneself bottle and low of spirit. So just like this took place by Rosh Hashanah, by Tamchuni Aleichem, that we make Hashem a king through our bittul, we're able to evoke and draw down from Hashem's essential hisnasus and exaltedness. The same thing in general, that how do we make a home for the Eibishter, if the Eibishter is so great that the heavens is his throne and so on? Through our bittul, ani v'rechei ruach. He says in line 3, so that this should be in a way that's settled and established, that changes are not applicable in it. That's the idea of the place of my rest. When we say menucha, it says, Eiza bayis asher tivnuli, what home can you build me? And mokim, and I mokim nechasi, where is the place of my rest? Rest indicates that it's settled, it's established, it's set. K'moi alam nucha ve'lanachal. It says in the pasuk that you're able to do such and such because you have not yet come to the place of the rest and the inheritance. And the menucha nachal is referring to the Beis Hamikdash being built. So we find that menucha shows on something, ayim makom menuchasi, that means a place that Hashem is settled with a kvias, without any change and so on. So, true, the bittul evokes the Eibishter's coming down. Once we've awakened that, just like on Rosh Hashanah, just through our bittul we have affected the Tamlichuni Aleichem, now we need to make it settled. How do we make it settled? For this, there needs to be the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs. That's the idea that the heavens are my throne and the earth is my footstool. That heavens and earth is symbolic of the idea of Torah mitzvahs, like we've had this in other Mamarim as well. Heavens is the idea of Torah. That's like השמים dibarti mochem, that has to do with the heavenly part. Mitzvahs has to do with the earth. So that's what it means. Hashemayim kisi v'aretz hadei b'ragli is going on Torah mitzvahs. Once I had the that we evoked all the way from these nasus atzmis from Hashem. Now we have to have menucha, that it should be settled. So this is in the way of Torah mitzvahs. Through this we affect the idea of the house that you will build to me. And it's not just a one-time house, but it's ba'if in the Mekayim Menuchasi. It's in a way that it's the place that I'm settled. Until This will become the ultimate type of menucha of Hashem. When is the ultimate menucha of the Eibishter? B'yom shekol Shabbos u'menucha l'chai olam, a day that's entirely Shabbos and rest forever and ever. There's the word menucha again. Menucha shows that it's something that's settled. So now he's going to explain more about this idea, the process, and so on. Ois Gimel, line 11. The idea behind this is the Hashem kisiu inyan hashpalo leir lemata. The idea of that the heavens is my throne is the idea of lowering to descend below. That's the idea of calling the heavens Hashem's throne. Like, for example, a person that has stature, and his head and brain is higher up than the ground. And still and all, despite the fact that because of his stature and his build, his head is way off the ground. He lowers his body to sit down in a chair. It's not just the body that's lowered, even the head is lowered. What does this apply in the metaphor above? Chazal say, in the place of his greatness, over there you find his humility. What greatness are we referring to? Chazal say, when it says in the pasuk, L'cha Hashem Agdula, to you Hashem is the greatness, what greatness are we referring to? The greatness, when it says in the pasuk about Hashem's greatness, it's referring to the creation. So therefore, when it says, that means in the Gedula, in the creation of Hashem, you will find his humility applied. How? He says in line 18, He anava etzloi vashpola etzli yisbarech. It is considered by Hashem, the creation process, it's humility and it's lowering himself. To deal with and to create a world is something that's lower than him, that he needs to lower himself to. Like the expression used in Chassidus, that's not the primary level of godliness, that he creates worlds. He is so much beyond the idea of creation that creating the worlds, the Gedula, is something that you need to have. He needs to humble himself, he needs to lower himself to be involved in. So now the Rebbe is going to add to this the meaning of this phrase, concerning the creation. It could have said in the place of his greatness. In other words, the creation, you find humility. Why is the emphasis on Vesunosai, his humility? There's something unique, something more to the humility that Hashem displays than regular humility and regular descent. So he's going to explain line 21. We get at in the exact language. In the place of his greatness, you find his humility. Anova shaloi, his humility. According to what the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, Hashem and his attributes are a pure, unadulterated unity. Not like by us, that there is the essence of the person, and then there are his midos, and they're not the same. But by the Eibishter, they're completely united, and because of this, therefore the Eibishter's midas are also without a boundary. Just like Hashem is infinite, so too his midas are infinite. Moving from this understood, that the Eibishter's humility, he believes shir klal, top of the next page, that without measure whatsoever. That it wasn't just to be able to create the world, so he had to lower himself. But more than that, he had to use only his power of lowering himself, the infinite power of lowering himself, the infinite power of unity, of humility, to be able to create the world. Then he goes on to say in line 2, V'davka ideizen nasa gdulosoi hagdulos u'maise bereishis. Only through this becomes his greatness, which the greatness is the creation, only when it's followed and predicated on his humility, the most powerful type of descent of an infinite power of descent. V'zeu inyan hashemayim kisi. That's the idea that the heavens are my throne, because just like a chair, a person lowers himself, the same thing Hashem lowered himself to create the world.